This is an old. Well, I heard it from Freddie King, and then of course Layla and Dwayne Allman, those guys playing it. But this is Joel here. Or maybe I shouldn't announce who it is before I play it. I don't want to embarrass anybody. But can you hear this? Thumbs up. Can you hear it? Joel Powell with.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, Joel.
Oh, that was cool,
Thank
man.
you.
Nice
Thank
tone,
you.
man.
Was that done with, how did you record it?
That's what I was gonna
That
ask.
was Kemper. Kemper. I think it was like a Dumble knockoff patch, and that was a PRS guitar Santana retro. Just
And
into
rhythm
Logic. Not much X, not much else. A little bit of reverb.
And the rhythm track?
Was the rhythm track was provided by Allen and John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think John made that one. I think, didn't you, John?
Yeah, that was mine. I've been using the pandemic a little to study details on tracks since I have nothing but time here, and that one you may recognize. It's a little different, but it's basically the Little Walter version. I got into some details even on the piano part and all that. So, but I decided to go with the sort of dun 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 groove instead of they probably got Willie Dixon on the bass or something, just hitting wrong notes all over the place and like holding them. It's not really the same kind of groove. It's beautiful, but it's a very different vibe. So I kind of moved it to more towards what people normally do on that with the drums and bass. But basically, it's I love that Little Walter version. It's amazing. You see, he sounds so great on it.
Joel, what did you think?
What's that?
What did you think about your own playing? I'm just curious what people think about their own playing. I know I can go crazy criticize, tearing my shit apart.
Well, I mean, I listening back, I had a kind of little cliche there that I use too much. I mean, that's what I hear a little bit of. Yeah, and I mean, if I did it again, I'd probably not have so much gain, but those are the things that stand out.
No, I think it sounded good. But to me,
It
to
was
me,
all
it's,
good.
yeah, to me, it felt really perfect. I mean, for the whole thing, and yes, sometimes if you just play pentatonic 16th note, it might sound a bit cliche at the end of the day. I mean, this is one of those songs where you can kind of take liberties, but I would rather you err on the side of being authentic than trying to go like, try to cover every chord change exactly. And I would rather hear that, even though the whole point of this is to try to experiment, you can reach out on that E on the, what key is this in?
This is G.
G.
G? Yeah, on the 5 chord, on that D chord, it might nail that major third. Maybe I would say something like that, or maybe transcribe to get some more motifs happening that might. Sometimes, like when I listen to Dwayne Allman playing on this, he would do a motif like over 8 measures. Or something like that. It just kind of takes you on a journey over 4 measures instead of just a pentatonic scale here or a pentatonic there. But like I say, I would still rather you err there than try to do stuff that doesn't fit the song at all.
I had fun with it. I mean, I like the 1-5-4 thing. I mean, it's just something that's different than the.
A little, and it's funny that the whole song is just those. I mean, there's no B section or C section.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was funny that we chose 2 blues tunes, which are really blues classics now, and neither one of them's a 12 bar. It was kind of funny. They're one's 16 and one's 8, and they're beautiful. But they're really, really different in character. This one is extremely forgiving, and you can play the blues as if you only have the one mode of like the pentatonic or the blues vibe. It works completely, regardless of the fact that there are changes. It kind of feels just more forgiving. But the other one is a little less like that, and it's crying out for more sort of responding to the chord changes, it seems to me. But Joel, before we get away from this, I love that sort of over the top like high gain thing. I told you, I think in an email, it reminds me of like Canned Heat or something.
Right.
There's a guy in Canned Heat, and that had a cool thing about it. And so I love the tone, but I think in some ways it's tricky, and you got to be careful with a tone that rings that long and will just sustain like a synthesizer if you hold it up, because it's really hard to make it breathe. And that's that's the only thing I would say maybe see if there's a way you can get off notes so you leave some space, because if with less high gain sound, you can hold that note and it'll decay more naturally, and you can kind of fine tune it so it holds as long as you want it. But it's really hard to make it sound like a singer to me when you're holding notes. But on the other hand, it's a really effective sound, and it fits with the track really well. So
I finally had my.
It's just a sort of something to think about.
I had my phrasing spread apart, but the sustain kind of glued it all back together. So I get what you mean.
Yeah. So
It's something
I thought that was really cool, though. I mean,
absolutely.
Thanks, Rob.
good advice. Absolutely good advice, But yeah, it reminded me, like, I don't know if you guys heard, Harvey Mandel back in the day, like on South Side with Charlie Musselwhite.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of made me think of. It's like the way Harvey Mandel played on Cristo Redemptor, and those long, just endless notes, I get a kick out of it. So.
Yeah, I like it too. It can definitely work.
I think playing with a lot of singers made me realize how effective space can be. I used to play with this one completely loopy singer named Randy Crawford. I think Robin's familiar with Randy too. She was a little loopy, but she was super talented. She had this one. She didn't realize what a gift she had. She could sing one note and you kind of know it's her. But she had a knack of when she would sing blues. And this is kind of fun. I remember we were at a jazz festival someplace and they were playing like rhythm changes, which is a whole different progression than like 12-bar blues, right? And she got up and started singing 12-bar blues. And somebody was sitting next to me and says, she has a weight problem. I said, what do you mean? Yeah, she doesn't know how to wait to come in. But she got up on stage. That was her thing. She was wonderful in doing her live show, like doing Street Life and all these really cool songs. And Imagine that Robin played on Casino Lights. She was wonderful. Like she would milk it. And she wouldn't come in till like 4 measures later on the phrase she was supposed to start a couple measures before. And it was totally left you on the seat, on the edge of your seat in anticipation for that stuff. So sometimes, rests are every bit as important as the notes you play, because they just completely put in frame, they frame what you're getting ready to do, So I always tell my students, it's not only where you start the note, it's like how you end the note. When you end the note and when you leave that space, that really makes everything that much more effective, emotive,
Good.
But yeah, no, it's good, Joe. It's really cool.
Appreciate it.
Really good.